Good morning. Good morning to all students, members. I, A.K. Srivastav, Joint Secretary, Institute of Company Secretaries of India, welcome you all in this webinar. This webinar is special. Why it is special? Because the first time the Institute has taken this initiative that we are remembering our leaders who have given immense contribution to ICSI and CS profession. But due to our bad luck, unfortunately, who has left us? Institute of Company Secretaries of India conducts Student Month every year since past so many years. As far as I remember, since last 2016, every year we are conducting Student Month in July. July, every day we are organizing some program for student. Some competition, various competition. You can say quiz competition, debate competition, poster making competition. Every day there is some activity for student, and we are engaging the student, and we are providing them opportunity to develop the extracurricular activity, side by side providing them opportunity to develop their academic skill as well. Institute is also doing little bit in the supporting the social cause. We have organized plantation day across the country, and thousands of plants were planted across the country. Our all regional offices and chapters were connected in this plantation day, and we were giving our little bit to the society back. We organized blood donation camp across the country in the same day, same time. All regional council and chapters, we conducted blood donation camp, and we were able to donate thousands of units of blood to the nation for the social cause. We organized Swachh Bharat Mission, and again same day across the country all our officers were celebrating Swachh Bharat Mission, maintaining their offices, their surrounding area, suburbs clean, tidy and hygienic. By putting all these small efforts, ICSI is trying to repay to society, to the nation, and trying to give their contribution for the social cause. As I was mentioning, Student Month July is dedicated for student only, and I was mentioning that every day we were organizing some program for student. This year, under the able leadership of our President Sri Devendra Deshpande ji, Vice President Sri Manish Gupta ji, and Secretary Sri Ashish Mohan ji, under able leadership of these three our leaders and our entire Central Council, we initiated one move that we are organizing a webinar in loving memory of our some past leaders who has left us, who has left for heavenly abode. Every Saturday in this month we are organizing, and today we are going to organize a program, a webinar in loving memory of our past Central Council member P.K. Mittal ji. P.K. Mittal ji was a towering figure in ICSI. Still we cannot believe that he is not with us. He was holding the commerce degree, Bachelor in Commerce, then Bachelor in Law from University of Delhi. He was fellow member of our institute, and he was elected to Central Council of ICSI for 3 terms. For the term 2004 to 2006, then again re-elected for the term 2007 to 2010, again re-elected for the 2011 to 2014, 3 terms he was our Central Council member. Very senior person, very knowledgeable person. We cannot even imagine, we cannot even believe today that he is not with us. Last year, during the second wave of Corona, the unfortunate day came and he left us. But his contribution to the institute is immense. He was a wonderful speaker, towering figure for our ICSI, very well respected and regarded across the profession. Across the country he was traveling and delivering lot of lectures on various academic topics. He was master. He was having complete control on his subject. NCLT was very close to his heart. NCLT was very close to his heart. That's why today we selected NCLT, that we will design a program, we will conduct a webinar in loving memory of our respected Sri P.K. Mittal ji on NCLT. Before I proceed, I request our IT team to show me the presentation of achievements of late Sri P.K. Mittal ji. IT team, please show the presentation of P.K. Mittal ji achievements. As I told you, late Sri P.K. Mittal ji, he had very rich experience in indirect tax law, company law, and insolvency and bankruptcy court. He had contributed towards finalization of the backgrounder of NCLT. He was convener of core group on GST of ICSI. He was a renowned advocate before Honorable Supreme Court, Delhi High Court, Custom Excise and Service Tax Appellate Tribunal, FERA Appellate Tribunal, Company Law Board, MRTP Commission and District Courts. He has written more than 100 articles on company law and corporate law. He was an authority. He was source of knowledge at various occasions and various programs and conferences. We were looking at him, and he was full of knowledge, but he was very, very supportive to us in the institute. In various endeavors of institute, he was supporting us. It's very, very painful to understand and believe that today whenever we look for any support, when we don't find him with us, it's really very painful. Today is the day when we are going to remember P.K. Mittal ji, and we are going to discuss something threadbare which was close to his heart, that is NCLT. Before I proceed further, I'd like to inform you that some of his family members are also connected today in this webinar. Before I request them to address, I would like to show you a video about P.K. Mittal ji. We have prepared. It's a small token of respect. We have got hundreds of thousands of his memories. We cannot forget him. But some pics we have selected from our library. Some pics we have collected from our albums, where he was present with us in various occasions. Our institute's internal team has designed a PPT, a video show. I'll request my IT team to show the video about P.K. Mittal ji. IT team, please. Sir, miss you badly. By seeing your photographs, it was very, very difficult to control our emotions. But life must go on. So we'll proceed with the webinar. In this today's special occasion, when we are organizing a webinar in loving memory of our beloved Shri P.K. Mittalji, we are fortunate enough that his family members are connected with us. I would like to recognize the presence of his wife, Madam Renu Mittal जी. मैडम नमस्ते. हम फॉर्चुनेट हैं कि आपने थोड़ा टाइम निकाला और हमारे इस अकेजन पे आप कनेक्ट हुई. हिज डॉटर मिस प्रीति गोयल मित्तल. वेलकम Preeti madam on this occasion.
Good morning, sir.
His son-in-law, Mr. Anubhav Goyal, is also connected here. Welcome Anubhav ji on this occasion. Before I proceed further, I'd like to introduce you. Anubhav Goyal ji is a chartered accountant having more than 10 years experience in company law and taxation matter. He had worked with PwC for more than 10 years in mergers, acquisition, in tax and regulatory services team. I'll request Anubhav Goyal ji to speak few words on this occasion, recalling the memory of our beloved P.K. Mittal ji. Anubhav Goyal ji, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I really want to thank the council members and other members of the institute for organizing this webinar. As a family, we are really touched with this gesture. And sir, really the video which you have shown has made us emotional beyond words. It was very unfortunate for me to lose my father-in-law last year due to COVID. I got to spend very short span of time, which is less than 8 years, with him. I wish I could have spent much more time with him. However, the time I spent with him was very memorable, and I'm honored to have such a great personality as my father-in-law. Sir, just to talk about his personal side, he was a very, very caring person, and it is demonstrated that the way he used to take care of his family members, irrespective of the age, he was a fatherly figure. Even for the people who are elderly to him, he was like a fatherly figure. So he was very, very caring person. He was a foodie by his heart. He used to love different kind of foods. And जितना उन्हें खाने का शौक था, उससे ज्यादा उन्हें खिलाने का शौक. मैं आज भी उनके प्रोफेशनल सर्कल से, क्लाइंट से, जितनों से भी मैं मिलता हूँ, everyone recall the memories कि they used to come to the office and every time there used to be some snacks and people really cherish those memories. So this was one of his qualities. So he was a very religious person. He completed 12 Jyotirlings and 4 Dhams many times in his lifetime. People are not able to complete one full circle of it, but he has completed many times. So with his profession, he was able to take out time and devote his time for religious causes also. He used to do lot of charity like for blind schools, etc. And he never used to tell these charities to anyone. I also came to know about these charities when I was getting his income tax return prepared after his demise. I saw the bank account and I was really surprised the amount of charity he used to do. On his professional side, I was fortunate enough to work in a very professional environment in a Big Four. But I have not seen a professional like him. The qualities he had, outstanding. He was very punctual. He used to value everyone's time, be it a junior or a senior or a colleague, whosoever it is. He was very passionate about his work. At 2 a.m. if his आंख खुल गई उनकी, so he will not waste his time on phone and all. He'll rather come down to his office and start reading the journals or even drafting the cases. He was very passionate. One thing which I have realized after his demise, that everybody takes him as an authority in the fields he used to work, especially company law and indirect tax. So this is what a professional is. Whatever you're doing, you have to be an expert in this. And he was indeed an expert. And the best quality professionally he had was insane client care. That is beyond anyone's imagination what he used to do. I'll share an instance. When during COVID he was hospitalized, he was in ICU. We were not able to see him. By repeated request to the nurse, she agreed that she will organize a video call for 1 minute on her personal number. We were highly obliged. She did that. And what he asked on that video call to me was, बेटा कल एक सिस्टाट में केस लगा है, प्लीज किसी को अपेयर करा के एडजर्नमेंट कर देना, केस ना खराब. We got really angry with him कि पापा you should focus on your health right now, केसेस तो होते रहेंगे. नहीं, मैंने केस लिया, खराब न्यूज. We are into a client service industry, and if we can care for our client, then actually we are existing. And this is what the values he used to give to us. And those values we are trying to imbibe. आज भी मैं बहुत सारे लोगों से मिलता हूं who are more aged than him, and they says आज हम जो भी हैं मित्तल सर की वजह से हैं, उन्होंने हमें बना. So this is the care, compassion he used to have for his colleagues. It is an honor for us to take his legacy forward. But at the same time, he has left us to fill in. Responsibility on our shoulders to serve his clients with the same rigor and compassion. But we are trying our best to do the same. उनके आगे हम कुछ भी नहीं है, but we are trying our level best. I once again thank the Institute member for organizing this event. This is a wonderful gesture. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anubhavji, for a very, very touching speech and recalling the memory of B.K. Mittalji. That is true. That is true. That he was a very, very religious person. As far as I remember, he was visiting Mathura, Vrindavan, Bake Bihari Ji Mandir.
Correct.
And doing lot of services there for the ashram, for the sadhus, for the lot of ashram are there. He is doing lot of things for the religious feeling, with this religious feeling. कहते हैं ना, जो अच्छे लोग होते हैं हम उनके पास रहना चाहते हैं, हम चाहते हैं अच्छे लोग हमारे पास रहें. ऐसे भगवान भी चाहते हैं अच्छे लोग भगवान बुला लेते हैं. वो भी भगवान भी चाहता है अच्छे लोग उसके पास रहें.
तो मेरे से कई लोगों ने पूछा
जी,
कई लोगों ने मेरे से पूछा कि वो इतने रिलीजियस थे फिर भी उनका डिमाइस हो गया. तो I have a very positive feeling for that. I don't know what hardships were, written in his destiny after that. And probably that's why God has called him, कि I don't want you to suffer. So rather you come to. So that's a one way to looking at it.
Yes, you are absolutely right, Anubhavji, you are absolutely right. बहुत ही अच्छा वर्ड आपने यूज किया, जो मैं कई बार फील करता हूं, क्योंकि मेरा उनसे बहुत लॉन्ग एसोसिएशन रहा है. और he was a fatherly figure. He was a fatherly figure. Now, I'll request his daughter, Madam Preeti Goyal Mittal. Before I request Preeti to proceed and address few words, I'd like to introduce Preeti Goyal Mittal is Bachelor in Law. She has a rich experience of approximately more than 12 years in the field of corporate law, insolvency law, arbitration, and dispute resolution matters. And I'm happy to inform you all like able daughter of able father, She is taking forward the legacy of her father's law firm PKMG Law Chambers along with her husband. Preeti, I'll request you to speak few words on the occasion. Remembering your father, I understand it's very, very difficult moment for you to control your emotions. But we have gathered here, we are connected live across the country is watching you. Huge response, I can see huge response. People are watching live on YouTube, Facebook. Very big crowd is connected live. Preeti, please speak something about your father, remembering your father's role in your life and your memories which are attached with you. Over to Preeti.
Thank you so much, sir. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor for me to speak and talk about my notions at this platform. I am really thankful to the Institute of Company Secretaries and all the Central Council members for the bottom of my heart, and I give their valuable time for organizing this honorable and memorable program for my father. My father was always very desirous towards his profession. The passion he had for the ICSI was beyond imagination. He always carried out his family and social responsibilities as well as moral responsibilities in a very balanced manner. He was a very religious and pious man. He had always devoted his entire life to God. I feel there can be no struggling person like my father. He can do anything for his people. In everyone's life, the father is the most important role. He will always get you whatever you are looking for. He was the one who supported me in all my dreams and desires. Now I realize that he had made a lot of sacrifices in his life and for his family. He lost his father when he was 15 years of age, and he was the one who took care of all his siblings and mother. He started working at the age of 16 and worked as a stenographer, personal assistant, and legal analyst. The passion he had for his work brought him from a stenographer to a successful lawyer and a Central Council member of ICSI. He was always committed to his clients. My husband already discussed the experiences how he had with his clients. I mean, when he was at the ICU also, he was concerned about his client. He would also always go extra mile to do his best in any of the cases for his client. My father always believed in me and shown the sense of confidence in me. He was my mentor and will always be. Whenever I feel depressed or sad, he is the one who motivated me with his words. He always used to share his experiences about his journey of life from a student life to a successful lawyer, and I would always like to follow that to my entire life. We are trying to follow his path, and we really want to take his firm PKMG Law Chambers to a height with all his blessings. He had made lot of sacrifices for his family, and he was always very compassionate for the institute. I still remember those sleepless nights he had while he was contesting Central Council elections of the institute. He used to attend all the seminars and the webinars organized by any of the chapter. Now, be that may it's a Mumbai chapter or it's a Haridwar chapter, he would want to and he would desire to attend all the seminars and webinars. Even in the COVID time also, he has not wasted his time because the courts were closed. But what I could see, he was always devoted to all the seminars. He was always invited as a speaker and he would love to do that. He has always taught me how to respect elders. I still remember an incident. Once I had a bad headache when I was at the age of 25. My mother couldn't understand what the moment my father saw me. He could understand that pain, that is not a normal pain. and he immediately took me to the hospital. Therefore, I feel a role of a father is entirely different in one's life. I still wish I could meet him once in my lifetime. He will always be my guiding soul and motivator for me, and I will always miss him. Still miss him, and I'll miss him. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Preeti. You spoke very, very touching words,
Thank you
emotional
so much.
memory associated with your father. Now, taking forward the webinar, I'll request NPS Chawla ji to take it forward. Before I introduce NPS Chawla ji, I'd like to inform the audience live connected with this webinar that today in this webinar, as I told you in the beginning itself, especially we have chosen the NCLT subject for this webinar because it was very close to heart of PK Mittal ji. We have a speaker today, Mr. NPS Chawla, who is presently a Central Council member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He is a commerce graduate, LLM, MBA, fellow member of our institute. Presently he is working as a co-founder and joint managing partner with ACOM Legal, Delhi, and is primarily handling corporate restructuring and corporate litigation assignments. His experience includes advising clients on various matters including commercial aspects, Indian corporate law, security laws, Indian tax laws, and specifically merger, demergers, hive-offs, capital restructuring. Wonderful speaker, a powerhouse of knowledge, having full command on the subject and having very good experience. In past, he had been chairman of Northern India Regional Council of ICSI in 2015, and he has spent more than 14 years approximately with the leading law firm Vass Associates. With this brief introduction, I'll request Mr. NPS Chawla to take his session on NCLT. Chawla ji, please.
Thank you, Joseph sir. At the outset, I convey my gratitude to Shri PK Mittal ji. It's actually very touching, and for me, certainly, the memory lane goes really back, and my association with Mittal sir is almost been maybe 16, 17 years rather. And I remember being invited to many of his personal functions. I remember meeting Renu ma'am. So, in fact, first of all, my naman, my namaskar to Renu ma'am. Preeti also has been a fellow colleague, meeting her in courts many times. Anubhav, I heard him for the first time, but the way Anubhav shared his feelings were really touching, and I feel whatever Preeti and Anubhav said actually relates to and makes us remember K. Mittal sir. In fact, my association goes back in a very different manner. When I was working in a small law firm, I joined Vash Associates in 2008. And after spending some time with Satvinder sir, Mr. Satvinder Singh, our former Central Council member and my mentor and senior, I asked him out of curiosity, sir, I can see many company secretaries now taking up this profession of appearing before various quasi-judicial bodies, and particularly at that time it was Company Law Board. And so how you got into this field? I asked Satvinder sir. Then the answer I got, and today Satvinder sir is unable to join, otherwise would have joined. He is speaking in another program organized by our institute. And he said, yeah, actually, I gave NPS credit for me to be in this line of appearing before courts, appearing before tribunals, of appearing before a company law board. He gave the credit to PK Mittal sir. Said NPS, I was doing my job as a company secretary in a private limited company when he attended one of the programs organized by the NIRC at that time. And Satvinder sir was a member having 3-4 years of experience. And he attended one of the sessions of PK Mittal sir at that time. Thereafter, he contacted him. Satvinder sir contacted PK Mittal sir. And this I am talking more than 25 years old. This is like probably 97, 98, what I can relate, 97 somewhere, yes. And he said, then I asked PK Mittal sir, how to be like you? You are appearing before ministry, you are appearing before tribunals. What to do? How to start my career in this direction? I am a company secretary working in a company. And he then said, first make your profile. PK Mittal sir drafted and sat with Satvinder sir to make his profile, tell him what to do, gave him a book, which Satvinder sir still is having the same book with him, of how to start his practice, how to start learning the art of appearing before quasi-judicial bodies. And I think what we learn from Mittal sir, there are so many things which I can talk about, but Srivastava sir has asked me to share my views on the topic as well, which is CS, a preferred professional. In fact, this year the theme of the institute, which is coined by our dynamic president, Mr. Devinder Deshpande, is this itself. CS, a preferred professional. We need to ensure that a CS becomes a preferred professional for every field. And that is what PK Mittal sir envisaged 25 years back when he shared his wisdom with Satvinder sir without thinking that, yes, in a way we are preparing a competitor, but he never had that feeling. Mittal sir always felt and believed that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. In fact, he always believed that the light given off, whether is greater than the light of one candle. And that's how I feel this is my first learning from PK Mittal sir. And if I can share 2-3 more learnings before I start on the subject, is I've always felt, I was wondering that whenever PK Mittal sir used to appear before company law board when I started my career, thereafter in NCLT, contemporaneously I saw him appearing before high courts as well. I always felt, what's the reason? And then I realized that there is a quote called give respect and take respect. But for him it was different. For Mittal sir it was, and this is what I always felt, that do your best and earn respect. Not demand respect. We'll have to do our best. We'll have to deliver what is expected out of us. And then we will automatically earn respect. This is what he did. I remember my association with him when I was in the regional council and Mittal sir was in the central council. When I was just a baby, and we are still a baby, will always remain baby before Mittal sir. And we together went to company law board at that time to make some representation to Honorable Justice Deshmukh, the then chairman of company law board. And the way Honorable Justice Deshmukh gave respect, regard, it showed a lot of things. I kept in my mind and I introspected as to how a gentleman can be given so much of honor. And then the answer I got is what I shared, do your best and then earn respect. And I think saying that it's very important for us to choose a role model. Srivastava sir has been a role model for many. Our president has been a role model for many. My elder brother, our vice president, Mr. Gupta, has been a role model for many. So it's important for one to choose a role model. I think it's equally important for one to ensure that at one stage in life, maybe now, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 15 years, one must do what is required to become a role model. And honestly, I believe, please believe me, that Mittal sir did whatever he could have done for helping young members. I know that many of his trainees, many of his juniors are doing so well because he became a role model for them. He ensured that the hand holding which he gave always, we need to inculcate this in our profession also. In fact, penultimate learning, if I say learning from life of Mittal sir, is a quote from Gurbani. It is Vidya Vichare te Paropkare. I repeat, Vidya Vichare te Paropkare. The biggest Paropkar is to disseminate knowledge, wisdom, intellect. And this is what he always did. In fact, I used to wait for P.K. Mittal sir's news alert that whenever there is a new judgment, he will certainly. So one way was that I read 100-page judgment and tomorrow I have to argue another matter in which this judgment will not be used. Another is to wait for a day. By then I can finish up my other work, and by then P.K. Mittal sir will spend his 3-4 hours at night and will make a brief summary, and we'll read that summary. And many times after reading summary, I used to call him, it's a very nice summary. I have a difference of opinion from what is written in the judgment. Do you agree with me? Many times we used to, from that small conversation, used to have a debate for at least half an hour, and he used to say with his smiling face, as he had this humongous, larger than life smile. And what I learnt always from him is that age no bar, knowledge bar lagatar. There is no age when one has to learn. He never felt I am 60 years old, NPS, you are 30, 40, you read judgment and tell me. No. So one must inculcate these things, and I feel the last learning, which, trust me, when he passed away, I thought that I am going to ensure in my lifetime. I have a younger brother who is also in the same profession, like Mittal sir had. And you won't believe that Mittal sir believed in this feeling that 1 and 1 together makes 11. Many times, initially I felt that there is this gentleman who speaks like Mittal sir, who walks like Mittal sir, who is he? And later I got to know his real younger brother. And the way they both work together. If Mittal sir is supposed to reach for a hearing, if he is unable to reach, the younger brother would reach and do better than him. Equally good. And there I felt that it's like apne to apne hote hain. And the kind of love, the kind of belongingness, the kind of care which Anubhav ji also mentioned, and I fully agree with him, is rarely found. I think from here, if I relate these learnings with the topic for the webinar today, NCLT friends were formed with lot of effort, and the recognition which we got, our members got, is with lot of effort from our leaders, including Mittal sir, Nisar Ahmed sir, who will be joining us sometime, and many other past presidents, many other, the entire council, lot of members, and the representations which were given ensured that we as a profession of company secretaries are given this right to appear before tribunal, to appear before NCLT when it will be formed. And initially our members were appearing before company law board as well. But the dynamics have changed. Now the way I see youngsters appearing, 6 months into the profession, the boy is appearing in NCLT and doing so well. And I asked myself, what is the reason? The reason is not curriculum. The reason is not our syllabus. The reason is not clearing the exam. The reason is the jazba. The reason is the curiosity. The reason is the inquisitiveness in one to learn, unlearn and relearn. And I think that is how our members, in fact, I say this many times, that our members are preferred to appear before various tribunals. Our members certainly are preferred when it comes to appearing before NCLT, NCLAT. The kind of grip which our members have on company law, it is our mother law I say generally, is rarely found in other professionals. In fact, I remember when I was chairman of NIRC in 2015, at that time only Honorable Justice M.M. Kumar became the president of company law board. Before the National Company Law Tribunal got accepted and got conceived in 2016, and Honorable Justice Kumar was made the president of NCLT. I remember when we went to give a representation to Honorable Justice Kumar, he said that company secretaries are men of figures. The way we deal with balance sheet, the way we deal with financial aspects along with other professionals, we are also having an additional advantage of becoming a man of word. Man of words, not that we keep up to our words, and that is how our motto of the institute is Satyam Vade Dharmam Chare, speak the truth, abide by law. We abide by law, yes. But what is more important is that we exhibit it during our profession as well. And that's how when we represented to these quasi-judicial bodies, we were assured that we need to work on and we need to ensure that the breed of young professionals which we are producing, they are able to represent themselves before the authority. There is no doubt that we are number one when it comes to technical expertise on subject. No doubt. But certainly a lot of work was required to be done, which we have in the last almost 1 decade have given a lot of emphasis on ensuring that our students are given an opportunity, participate in moot court, participate with other professionals, with lawyers, with young budding professionals, in ensuring and delivering that the art of appearing before professionals and the art of drafting and pleadings, which was a topic which was really, really close to Mittal sir's heart. I remember attending so many of his sessions where he used to share the nitty-gritties of how to draft. And not only one subject, he's one man who diversified. So I say, sky is the limit, and that limit is limitless, and that limitless limit is our limit. How can a person who is a company secretary take up GST? Why can't we? It's up to us. It's up to our own limit which we create for ourselves. And that's how we say, and our president coined this theme for the year CS, a preferred professional. We are a preferred professional. In company secretaries, if you go to Bombay, company secretaries are preferred to appear before NCLT. If you go to Chennai, company secretaries are preferred to appear before NCLT. If you go to Chandigarh, you will find many company secretaries. Our own former chairman, my younger brother, Mr. G.S. Sargi, you will find his name invariably as a practicing company secretary appearing in 5 matters every day. How? And I asked myself, they are not Abhimanyu. They are not Abhimanyu who learnt everything from his mother's womb. No, we haven't. We are learning from here. We are learning from the experience of seniors like Mittal sir, Nisar Ahmed sir, Ranjit Pandey ji, Vijay sir, and so many. And if I share few tips before I show a small presentation which I have made as to how our young members can take up this practice area of appearing before NCLT. In fact, I would be wrong if I say that only company secretaries in practice are preferred as professional for NCLT. No. Company secretaries in employment also are equally preferred. And in the last 7 years, I have seen from the time NCLT has become in the last 6 years a reality. In 2016, I remember when we did the first ever program on NCLT in Manish Bhai's chairmanship, and I at that time had just finished my chairmanship from NIRC. What I realized at that time is that the potential is immense in our members, and we just need to show them a path, and they'll be running and flying high on that path. And fortunately, with concerted efforts from all members of the institute, the professors, the teachers, the faculty members, we are able to ensure that the environment is so conducive for our young members to take up this practice area, even for members in employment. And let me share a very recent story, Srivastava sir. I got a call from managing director of a company, listed company, I will not name. He says, NPS yaar, wo hamare ek shareholder ne, they have filed a petition. And I said, sir, what is the shareholding of that petitioner shareholder? He said, 11%, 11%. I said, okay, sir, send me the petition. He said, yes, my company secretary is calling you, he'll send you the petition. The company secretary called me up, I said, send the petition. Sent the petition. I gave it to my team. I asked my team to prepare a note. While the team was preparing note, the young company secretary in employment called me up. Sir, as I called you again, I have sent the petition, but I am also going through the petition. While I am going through, I have realized that the petition does not meet the threshold. I said, how? And when I saw a top leading law firm's name on the petition, I presumed the threshold would be met. How can a threshold under section 244, which is the threshold of any shareholder to go to NCLT for filing a petition under operation mismanagement cannot meet. And how can that petition be filed without ensuring this? He said, sir, do you have the Bear Act with you? I said, yes, I have it, but I remember. You tell me. He said, sir, it will be good if you can open the Bear Act. And that reminded me what Satvinder sir always shared with me. So whenever a new matter will come to us, we will not presume what is already written in the law. If a new petition under section 241 has come to us, we will first open the section again after we have gone through the facts to ensure that we are not missing anything out of that section, because those 10 lines in a section, each word has an emphasis. And मैंने उसको ऐसे ही बोला श्रीवास्तव से, अरे मुझे पता है, मुझे याद है, तू बताना. सर अच्छा रहेगा, खोलो तो सही. And I said, yeah, the young boy is telling me to open. I opened. And he said, sir, let me read this. And he read the section. And he said, sir, इसमें लिखा है देखो 1/10 of the paid up capital. मैं कहा, yes. And he said, sir, 1/10 of the paid up share capital. I immediately realized what he is trying to tell me, because by then I had not gone through the facts. So I was keenly listening to him. He said, sir, it is paid up share capital. I said, do you have, immediately my question was, do you have preference share capital? He said, yes, sir. So I said, what is the total paid up capital and how much percentage he is holding of the total paid up capital, and not only equity share capital? He said, sir, total put together he is holding 6%. And if I only see of the equity share capital, he is holding 11%. I said, yes, we have a case. Overnight, we drafted a maintainability application challenging the maintainability of the next day. The day one the petition was to be heard for interim reliefs. And the other side were senior counsels. And here a poor junior counsel like me stood and said, my learned senior friend has already argued and pressed for interim relief for the last 30 minutes. I will not take more than 30 seconds. My view, this petition is not maintainable, Your Lordship. For this reason, which I just mentioned, thus no notice should be issued. Overnight, we drafted maintainability application, filed it in the morning. So at times, we'll have to work overnight. At times, we'll have to go an extra mile to ensure that, see, our profession as a professional, as a company secretary, I personally feel is like doctors. We'll have to deliver and we'll have to do an operation when it is required to be done. We can't sleep over it. Can't. We don't have the liberty. If we sleep, if I could have slept overnight on that day and not filed that maintainability application, the court may have issued notice, may have granted some interim relief, saying, okay, you filed maintainability application, we will look into it. No, but I had to. Even if that may not be to the way I wanted to draft overnight, obviously in 5 hours I cannot. But I ensured it is filed. And then court said, yes, no notice for the time being. We let this application get listed. 3 days later, we will hear your interim application for pressing interim relief and their maintainability both together. Fortunately, that matter got dismissed on the advice and initial point taken out by a company secretary in employment who was hardly having any experience, I would say. So again, it's a myth that only a person having 40 years experience like Srivastav sir will share any points of wisdom. Anybody can. Any young person can. And that's how I feel the first learning which I would like to share with everybody, and that's how I say company secretaries will always look into the Bear Act, will always read the law, substantive law. They will always do what other professionals are not doing. I recently, in a matter in NCLT, Appellate Tribunal, our client got an appeal. In fact, in that matter, we filed an appeal. There was an order under Section 8 of Arbitration Act, which is that if there is an arbitration clause between the parties, then no other forum except the arbitration can take up that dispute resolution. So for if there is an arbitration agreement between the parties, then even an operation mismanagement may not be sustainable, may not. This area is very wide. This question is very controversial. There are Supreme Court judgments on this. So we filed this Section 8 when an operation mismanagement was filed a minority shareholder. That Section 8 was decided against. We filed an appeal. When an appeal was filed, we had by then already invoked arbitration. So strategy. So friends, appearing before NCLT or any other forum, strategy is most important. I feel in any litigation, anywhere, any forum, any tribunal, what is most important is strategy. With a good strategy, we can win weakest of case. With a bad strategy, we can lose best of the case on facts and on merits. So the strategy which we had to adopt that day was that we had already filed an appeal, and by then we were sitting on a stay, and we had already invoked arbitration. I wanted the arbitrator to be appointed, so that NCLT, when I argue the matter, I say arbitrator is already appointed even, and the arbitration was already invoked before the operation was filed. My point is the strategy. There the strategy was to delay. In the other matter, the strategy was to press and draft application overnight. In the other matter, strategy was to delay deliberately and ensure that the stay is given to us, and we somehow at least extend that stay for one hearing. So what we did, the reply was filed by the other side to the appeal which I filed. In the reply, I took an objection. The reply was filed. The other side probably thought earlier a senior counsel appeared, and this time a junior counsel from the other side appeared. Here from our side also a senior counsel appeared, and we said the reply is on record, but that reply deserves to be rejected, deserves to be not taken on record. And the judge asked me, why? How can you say this, Mr. Chawla? The reply is there. I said, my lords, we all are bound by the rules, which many other professionals don't read. Company secretaries are preferred professional because company secretaries will start the matter by reading the rules, the NCLT rules, NCLT rules. Now, this is the second learning which I would like to share. Whoever are already appearing must keep the Bible with them, must keep the rules handy. Here, always on my table, whenever a new matter comes, we'll always find our institute's booklet of NCLT, NCLT rules. Why? Because there will be something new which you can take out from it. So when that reply came to my hand, I was wondering what to do. I just completed the full reading of the reply. When the reply finished, I saw that there was just a signature. I said, yeah, there is no verification. There was some format in NCLT rules in terms of which a reply is to be made. I immediately asked my colleague to give me the rules. I saw the rules, found in the rules that a specific verification and a specific declaration is required to be given in the reply after the affidavit as well. And the affidavit also is required to be drafted in a particular manner which is given in the rules. I said, my lord, we just see this rule. How can this reply be taken on record when the explicit rules made by my lord are not followed? I said, how? Which rule? So they were probably thinking that I am just bluffing and I am just mentioning as an excuse. I read the rule. They got convinced. They said, and again, and they in fact, I said one thing very carefully, not to annoy the registry, but I said, I am only wondering, my lord, there has to be a system in place. When I don't waste a judicious time of my lord, this should have been pointed out by the registry. How the registry placed this reply on record when the rules explicitly made for NCLT and NCLT are not followed in letter and spirit. At least in letter. In spirit, the other counsel will say will have to be followed. The judge immediately understood. Said, very good point, Mr. Chawla. I'll see how the registry accepted. Now, my worry was that the registry would be annoyed. So immediately I had to then again, like we say, jalebi, gumana. So again I had to turn around. It may not be the fault of registry. Many times it is our fault. Our means I took it on our professionals. Many times the timings are so short that the signatures may have been done on the last moment. I don't have a problem. I am not objecting. My learned friend on the other side may just cure this defect and file the reply again. Now after 10 days the reply was again filed. Again, some other error from the rules that any reply which is signed by a power of attorney should be supported by a special power of attorney or some authorization. I said, now the verification declaration is there, but I wonder whether Mr. Srivastava, who has signed the reply, whether he is authorized. There is no authority of the signatory. Can my lord rely on this? If there is perjury tomorrow and I prove what is written in the reply is wrong, and I need to penalize, and my lord want to penalize and hold somebody responsible. Said no. Again, very good point. File the special power of attorney. It's been 5 months and those defects are not cured.
Right.
Strategy.
Yes.
Strategy is critical. Now, when I relate this with reading the rules, people who are yet to take up this area of practice, take up this area of employment, because company secretaries are the best legal officers. I have so many friends who have become general counsels. So many who were company secretaries and now they are general counsels of listed entities of multinational companies. How? They are not in practice. They are company secretaries in employment, also holding the additional charge as a general counsel, as a head legal, also working in the legal department of the company. How? Because they have that basic acumen, basic knowledge, supported by kind of webinars, kind of practical insight which we share with our members. And when I go to the third learning, that apart from the rules, what is most important for tribunal like NCLT is brevity. Nobody has got the time now to delay the matters. Gone are the days which only in movies. Chadda sahab, tarikh pe tarikh, tarikh pe tarikh. We may get a date because of the pendency in a matter, but our endeavor should be to be brief. Our endeavor should be to be using the bullets. I remember in last year's convention, January, we invited President NCLT, Honorable Justice Ramalingam Sudhakar, and he was there to address our members. And he said, NPS, whenever you have to come as an institution, train your members to be brief. Train your members to use bullet points. We don't have the time to go through the 1,000 pages. You tell us on one page summary, what are your 5 bullet points? In fact, I remember Justice Mukhopadhyay, founder chairman of NCLT, used to always tell us. So I appeared before him one day. With lot of fire in me, I said, my lords, this is very unfortunate case. I have 5 points to argue. He said, sir, sorry, Mr. Chawla, what you said? I said, my lords, I have 5 points to argue. 5 points, you sit down. You have no case. I said, sorry, my lords, I did not get. I am yet to start. Yes, if you have 5 points to make, you have no case. If you have 4 points to make, you have some case. If you have 3 points to make, you have reasonably good case. If you have 2 points to make, you have good case. If you have 1 point to make, 1 point by which you will convince the judge, you have excellent case. I said, sir, my lords, I got it. My only point which I want to emphasize is this. He said, sure, Mr. Chawla, you don't want to argue on the other 4 points? Yes, my lords, I am not pressing those 4 points as of now. Today I need a stay on this point. Stay granted, notice issued, come after 4 weeks. Because I immediately implemented and learned. And today also, whenever we have to appear before, because NCLT, there is so much ministry is doing, and the institution which they have created is humongous. The kind of opportunity which our members have got. Although we are technical experts of company law, Srivastava sir, but let me tell you, our members may not be knowing, and everybody may feel that there are only few 3, 4, 5 sections in which company secretaries have an opportunity. We have opportunity to appear before tribunal as an officer in employment also. Being a company secretary in company, I know many of my friends, they appear. They say, yaar, teko kaam nahi denge, hum khud appear ho jayenge. We have the caliber. I said, very good, yaar. We can discuss. I can give you my input, but you appear, no problem. As a power of attorney, as an authorized representative of the company in which they are working, and their form is also filed as a company. Still you can appear on behalf of the company. There are 30 sections, and I'm sure Preeti will agree. I saw Preeti appearing in NCLT few days back in an IBC matter when she had filed an appeal where against her client the petition has already been admitted and she was pressing for a stay. The matter got settled, I think, in between. This is what I remember from the hearing. But what I want to emphasize as the third learning, that there are 30 provisions, 30 sections under the Companies Act. Only Companies Act, IBC is separate. Companies Act only gives us 30 sections where we can appear. There are sections which are not even known to our professionals, where we are appearing and we are doing extremely good and we are doing extremely well. I was talking about this with Sareen Saab from Chandigarh. He shared with me, because we share a lot of work together. He shared with me, he recently did the matter, he asked for my view. I shared my view, we built up that matter, got a favorable order of relief to be sought under section 55 of Companies Act. Now 55, many of us may not have even read. Many of us may not have even dealt. That this section deals with a rollover of existing redeemable preference shares. There are 20 years limitation. Even if after 20 years has expired and because of the losses in the company you are not able to redeem the preference shares, then what? You can seek a rollover from NCLT. But members are not aware of this as an opportunity. A chartered accountant friend calls me up. यार हमारी ना वो फाइनेंशियल्स में कुछ गलती हो गई है, तो कंपनीज एक्ट में प्रोविजन है. मैंने कहा हाँ यार है तो सही पड़ा है. आई एम नॉट श्योर, आई हैव नॉट डन दैट मैटर. So can you give me some time? I said, हाँ, take the weekend, come to me on Monday. Over the weekend, and I remember what I used to learn from our founder of the earlier firm, Mr. O.P. Vash, the late Mr. O.P. Vash. He always used to say, NPS, we always learn at the cost of client. Company secretaries will always learn, but the zeal to learn has to be there. I opened the Where Act. I learned that there is one section 130 and 131, which I had just glanced when Companies Act became a reality. But when you have a facts in your hand, then you apply those facts to the section. I read, yes, there is a provision for the Act for revision of financial statements, even if they are audited, can be changed to ensure that the true and fair view is given. So I will not start a boring lecture, but for me to emphasize that there are 30 provisions, very critical. Now those 30 are many, I will not tell all. Section 2 subsection 41, which deals with application for change in financial year. Similarly, conversion of public into private limited company, changes in the voting rights, this rollover provision, power to call AGM, then order for inspection, reopening of the accounts, voluntary changes in the financial statements, then soon investigation, inspection of the records also, 241 which I mentioned, mergers. So people feel there are 3-4 provisions which are the powers and the role of company secretary. No, there are 30 sections in which power is given to company secretary to represent. What else is needed, I ask you? How much opportunity we need? We at many times young members ask me. I went to Ludhiana day before yesterday, and last week I was in Chandigarh and Patiala for similar sessions, where a young member, coincidentally all 3 places, comes and tell me, sir, हमारी सिर्फ इतनी सी तनख्वाह है and we are not able to grow from there. I said, what you have done to improve? He said, sir, क्या मतलब? Improve starts with I am proof. I don't need to prove to anybody else. I need to improve myself, is what I explained them with more of motivational dose, which Mittal sir also used to give us many times, and seniors like Nisar Ahmad sir always gives us. I think another learning which I must share with you, apart from being reading the rules, reading the section again, using brevity, being brief, is that anticipate. I remember I asked Mr. Janak Dwarkadas. Janak Bhai is like Mr. Harish Salve of Bombay High Court, one of the most senior counsels of Bombay. I went to brief him 15 years back in a matter. I asked him, sir, how to be like you? Una कीड़ा बहुत है अंदर ना, curiosity was full at that time. So without any hesitation, I used to ask, क्या होगा? बेइज्जती खराब हो जाएगी? Worst what will happen, the senior will laugh on me. बेइज्जती है मेरी तो खराब हो जाएगी और थोड़ी, doesn't matter. And I remember I asked him that, and the answer he gave me was, are you sure you want to hear the answer? I said, yes, sir. He said, okay, come to my chamber after court hours. I stayed there, actually went to his chamber after court hours. He said, Arey, you are serious? You are here? So he said, okay, sit here. So he asked about me. I gave my background, shared everything. It was only 1 year in the profession. Now having 16 years, 15 years, yeah. 1 year at that time. He said, how much you read? I said, sir, we read whenever there is a requirement. He said, that's the mistake you. You have to read when there is no requirement. You have to read when you don't have a brief in your hand. You have to read as if you will use what you are reading today, tomorrow. And he gave me a judgment. He said, okay, read and discuss with me. 15 years back, I'm sharing. 15 years. And that was around 70-80 pages judgment. I took around 40 minutes at that time to read that judgment. And he said, what all you did in this time? I said, sir, I read that judgment. He said, you took half an hour to read that small judgment? I said, sir, it was a lengthy judgment, sir. He said, you said you are a company secretary? Yes, sir. I shared I am a company secretary. That's very good. But being a company secretary, you need to now learn one more art. Company secretaries are habitual of reading every section word by word, proviso, full stop, comma. This is the way we used to read Bare Act because we interpret it. But the difficulty of reading a provision so well is that we read slow at times. So he gave a name of a book which I'll share with you as well, which I still have with me and which I bought immediately after leaving from there because at that time YouTube was not that prevalent. How to read fast. When I brief judges now in arbitration, when I brief senior counsels, they read diagonally, vertically. Their reading is so fast. So reading fast is again is a skill. We'll have to develop this skill. And I realized that so he said, NPS, if you read fast, you will know more, you will learn more. I said, what a learning, sir. And few days back, again, I went to Bombay High Court and I went to him. He didn't realize who am I. I said, sir, there is hardly any change. Now I have few gray hair in my beard. That's only the difference. I don't know if you remember 15 years back. He said, yes, the boy. I said, sir, I look like a boy yet as well. But he remembered. And I said, sir, your learning of telling me to read fast helped me immensely. And the name of the book which I am mentioning, I will share. Otherwise, members may say. And same book was recently shared by one of our members, Ratan Lal from Ludhiana. It is Kennedy Speed Reading Workbook by Raj Bapna. It's a book, but today it's easy. Life is easy. You put on Google how to read fast. And if you read fast, you will be able to know more, read more. I remember when I did. So this was the fourth learning. Fifth learning of why company secretaries are preferred before NCLT and why members who have not started their career yet in this field must do it. Is the learning which I got from Justice Deshmukh, Justice Dilip Rao Deshmukh, who was the former chairman of TLB. My question used to be same. And Srivastava sir, you won't believe, my question still remains the same. I can ask my junior colleague. Now, my colleague, my partner, Sujoy, recently, yesterday, cleared his AOR exam, Advocate on Record, which is an exam conducted by Supreme Court. If somebody has to practice in Supreme Court, file documents, file pleading, file petition in Supreme Court, they have to be Advocate on Record. He cleared that exam and he became third. On Pan India level, his ranking is third. I asked him, Sujoy, how you did it? So, question for me still remains same. How to be like somebody? How? Even if it's my junior, I have no hesitation in asking. And at that time, 10 years back, when I asked Justice Deshmukh, sir, how to be like you? So meticulous, so prepared, so clear, so fast, so smiling, so calm, so comfortable. And the answer I got was, NPS, whenever you have to appear before a court, you have to remember three things. And I use these three things even till date, which are anticipate, anticipate, and anticipate. Why and what? First, anticipate what the judge is going to ask you. Second, anticipate what the other lawyer, your learned friend, as we call them. See, this profession of appearing before NCLT is a very graceful profession. Gone are the days when we shout in the court. Nobody appreciates. The grace. The more grace we give, more grace we get back. So it's only in movie which I mentioned, no, in reality nobody does this. In reality we show grace. We always say, my learned friend appearing on the other side. Tadai ho chahe dusri taraf. But we'll give them respect by telling them, my learned friend. That's how we respect the bench as well. Your Lordship, Your Honor, my Lord, Your Ladyship. And I remember what Justice Deshmukh told me at that time, shared with me. 3 anticipations. First, anticipate what the judge is going to ask you. 2, anticipate what the other side's lawyer is going to ask you and question you and contradict your submission. Third, anticipate what relief you want if you are not granted the relief which you have asked for. Not always you will get what you want, but there will be some relief too. If not that, then 3. If not that, then 4. Now these alternate reliefs you may not mention in the petition or application, but you'll have to think, you'll have to anticipate. 10 days back, I appeared myself in a matter before NCLT against 2 senior counsels, Mr. Nagesh and Mr. Krishnendu Datta, both legends of our company law domain. And obviously, there will be some thinking which I will have to do when I know I have to appear before 2 senior counsels, because originally the matter got listed, notice was issued, and that day also 2 senior counsels, same senior counsels appeared. I went back to my client telling him, yeah, there are 2 senior counsels on the other side. If you want, I can brief a senior counsel on your side for you. He said, no problem, you argue. You do your best, you argue. So then what I did, the matter was already prepared, but I did 3 anticipations. First, let me think what judge will ask me and how will he not allow me to argue. I will make one submission, he will question me 5 things. What those 5 things be? I prepared for it. And what questions Honorable Chairperson asked me, I immediately, Justice Bhushan, now the Chairman of NCLT, His Lordship asked me a question. When I started arguing, I wanted to argue in my own flow, but I was asked a question. Now one way is I say, yes my lord, I will answer that, and Honorable His Lordship will lose the interest. Another way was that first I answer his question. And if I answer his question, he will be with me for the rest of the year. So I may have to change the flow in which I have to argue. But for that I need to anticipate. So I anticipated that he will say, I have a judgment already which I have given. What you are arguing is against it. I said, no my lord. That judgment I will show doesn't apply to the facts of this case, because that was for insolvency and this is for liquidation. Example I gave in that matter. He said, okay. I argued further. The other side was to be given an opportunity, but I know that the other side will show a judgment which is against me. So one way is that I keep quiet, don't mention, conceal. And then the other side will show in their submissions. Court will say, what you are arguing, Chavla? Petition dismissed. Another way is that I deal with that judgment in my submissions itself, up front. I say, my lord, whatever I have argued, there is a judgment which is there by Honorable Supreme Court, but that judgment also is distinguished on these grounds. And I distinguish it before even the other side shows that judgment, because I know the other side will show. Now the third aspect, I know that both these arguments will not work. Third is to ensure that at least the matter is relegated back to NCLT. From an appellate tribunal, it is sent back. And therefore, these anticipations, which many people don't consider relevant at times, they miss. So this is the 5th learning. 6th learning which I noted today morning is we are compliant officers. People call us compliance specialists. We need to comply with the orders also. I remember I appeared in a matter in Kolkata, and our former Central Council member Deepak Khetanji used my briefing counsel there in Kolkata, and my all matters were done by him. His office colleague is a practicing company secretary, and she was helping me. And when the matter got filed, when the matter came up for hearing, I had to argue. And then the judge asked me, Mr. Chavla, whether the compliance in the last order has been done. So I was opening the last order. I said, yes, my lord. Let me just open the last order. He said, who is the briefing counsel here in Kolkata? I said, Shruti. And he immediately, Honorable Judge, said, yes, oh, practicing company secretary. Yes, yes, she must have complied. Because we are compliance specialists. But at the same time, we need to ensure that we comply with the orders. Not only on the day of hearing, we open the file to again see, oh, there was this compliance, this affidavit to be filed, this written submissions which were required to be filed. And not only on the day of the hearing, we will realize this. Obviously, we will have to prepare. People ask me, sir, how senior counsels are so confident. I said only because they are not Abhimanyu. Only because they are prepared. Confidence comes by preparation. डर के आगे जीत नहीं है. It's only in movies. डर के आगे जीत है. नहीं. डर के आगे preparation है. Preparation के आगे जीत है. डर के आगे पक्का हार है. डर लगेगा. Go back to your exams time when you were appearing in an exam which you are not able to clear. You will fail. Therefore, preparation. One will have to prepare. The rules are important. Judgments reading is very important. In NCLT, one thing I have realized is keep the ball rolling. There is so much which we can do. There are applications over applications over applications filing. Why? Because the matters are so many. There is pressure on the bench. Lesser number of judicial technical members are there. They are sitting holding benches till 6 o'clock from morning till evening. So one, you will have to be prepared. More than what you are prepared, you should be prepared. One has to be brief. You need to make written submissions and then go to argue. The written submissions are so critical that once you prepare the written submissions, you will be able to argue from the written submissions. I remember I made a written submission, gave it to Mr. Amit Sibbal once. He was leading us in a matter 10 years back. A matter before Company Law Board. And Mr. Sibbal was arguing from the written submission 5-pager note which I made. And the arguments were almost getting completed. The former judge at that time asked us, Mr. Sibbal, from where you are reading these points? So, my lord, my friend, my briefing counsel, NPS Chawla, made this note for me. He said, can I ask a copy of this? And we all were wondering what to do because that had our notings also. So I stood up, sir, mat do ye, please don't give because we have mentioned few things on this in our own handwriting. He looked at me, kuch galat likha hai. I said, nahi sir, not wrong, but we have written by hand. No problem. My lord, this is the copy. Mr. Chawla had a concern that we had some hand marked noting and I asked him, kuch galat likha hai? He said, no, nothing wrong, but in our own terminology we have written. You won't believe, when the judgment came, the flow in which we argued was evident. The judge gave an opportunity to both sides to file the written submission. But those 5 pages from which we were arguing made the difference. And the other side flumbled. Why? Because obviously they never expected this to happen. So we'll have to follow that principle of KISS, K-I-S-S. Srivastava sir will say no talk like this NPS. KISS says keep it short and sweet. We can't elongate things. And I think I'll show you mistakes which many people, when they appear before tribunals, they commit. And it's a learning. Everybody learns from their mistake. I do it every day and then I learn. And Srivastava sir, do let me know once Nisar sir also joins. He'll have so much to share. I think the presentation is visible on screen, Srivastava sir. So this is a small, Srivastava sir, is it visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, if I take you through this presentation, which is a brief presentation, and I will not bore you with a detailed discussion on it, I think I must, is not, okay, let me try this way. So this appearing before NCLT has 2 set of factors which are required. One is public speaking, another is court etiquettes. One, public speaking, as we all know that we need to ensure that we are able to affluently speak before the tribunal. Then is dressing. Our members may not know, many of the young members are not aware of the dress code. I have seen walking them in a shirt in NCLT and the bench asking them, what is the dress code? You are a company secretary, you have a dress code. We must know the dress code. Blue blazer is our dress code. Blue tie of the institute is our dress code. We can't just walk in the tribunal, even in physical or in virtual hearings. Now in virtual hearings, the system is so smooth. We can sit in our office, log in into the system and just do our own thing and look at it as well. All my trainees are mandatorily required to log in into NCLT website every day in the morning. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, see the bench, look at what they are learning and how they are conducting the court, and then log out, do something. If you have to go to some court, do to some authority, go there. How to address, respond formally, sitting etiquettes when the hearing is to be physical hearing. These few points, how to start, is very critical. Now, how to start is we must know our case. We must know what is list of dates. It's so critical. We must make a list of dates. Even for NCLT, every bench is asking for list of dates because they don't have time. We must know the law. We must know the judicial pronouncements. The other day I was arguing a matter in NCLT on liquidation of a corporate debtor as a going concern. I knew the other side will object on this. I directly said, just read this regulation. I had 5 options of elongating my speech. No. I said, just look at this regulation 37A. And that is the answer. The answer was found there. Court gave me a favorable order. So we'll have to look at the blind spots of the other side. And then from there also we need to learn. There are these 7 lamps of advocacy which are very, very helpful. Which are honesty, be honest to the case, be prepared, be adequate, and use respect to the other side. How to argue before court has 3 set of factors which are required. We must mention what we are going to argue. Then we argue and then we conclude also in an impressive manner that way. Srivastava sir, I wanted to show this video. Is it visible now? Srivastava sir, is this video visible?
Yes, sir, visible.
Get audible also.
Yes, Mr. Counsel, proceed. Your Lordship.
Is it audible?
Yes, yes. Yes.
My friend here is to commence the arguments. He is my junior. I have to mention a matter in another court. Kindly excuse me for the moment. Certainly. I'm grateful, Your Honor. Yes, what is this case about?
Your Lordship, there are 2 plaintiffs in this matter. Your Lordship, I appear for plaintiff number 2. Let me state the facts. Yes, we are on the same side. I am going to present the case before the court now. No, but I have also prepared a list of dates.
What should happen now? Should the counsel for plaintiff number 2 speak before plaintiff number 1? No. Here the right of pre-audience means the counsel for plaintiff number 1 has a right to speak first. You will also get your chance. Let plaintiff number 1 senior advocate speak first.
Most obliged, Your Lordship. Plaintiff 1 and plaintiff 2 are students studying in the same college and they share an apartment. The defendant is their neighbor and he has a pet dog, a chihuahua.
No, but he's wrong. Should the defendant's junior advocate have said anything now? No, it's not his turn. He should not interrupt an opponent. Mr. Counsel, let her complete. But she's incorrect. Should the defendant's junior advocate have said anything now? No, it is poor form to interrupt the judge. Mr. Counsel, I am saying please let her finish. You should let her complete her arguments. You will get your turn, you make your point then. I'm sorry, sir. Is the defendant's junior advocate's form of address to the court correct? No, sir is only used in trial courts. You're not in a city civil court, mister. I understand. The only reason I interrupted her was because she stated that the defendant owns a chihuahua. He actually owns a bull terrier. Is the defendant's junior advocate's form of reference to plaintiff number 1 senior advocate correct? No, my senior colleague would be more appropriate.
How is that relevant? The fact is, both the plaintiffs were given homework by their professors, which they did in their notebooks. Only for the defendant's dog, a bull terrier or a chihuahua to eat it all up. This suit is for damages as well as injunction in order to prevent the defendant from letting his dog roam around without a leash?
What has happened until now? Mr. Singh, let me tell you, plaintiff number 1 senior advocate has stated that she wants to ensure that the defendant's dog is on a leash. But it is good that you are back here because no one needs to be on a leash more than our learned friend here.
Happens many times when we are not prepared or we are taken by surprise, and that's why I feel that exordium is important. We'll have to play chess, we'll have to think on feet, we'll have to argue as if this is our own matter, we'll have to know our limits as well. There's so much which I can keep on sharing on NCLT and this subject, but I think Srivastava sir, once Nisar sir is there, please do
Yes.
let me know because it's always learning. Has he joined?
He has joined. He has joined.
So
He's
whenever
there.
Nisar sir is there, and it's always a learning which we get from Nisar sir. Before
He
I
has already
close,
joined, sir.
I think
Already joined.
he has joined. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So my request is that we are a preferred professional for NCLT undoubtedly, and my request again would be that we keep on flying high. This, I think the screen is off, right, Srivastava sir?
Yes.
There's no screen sharing now. Perfect. So I think I've shared few learnings which I could gauge and which I have noted. There is so much which one can share with regard to NCLT. There is no doubt that the kind of opportunities which are available with us, the number of young members who are appearing, the future is really bright. I think we need to keep these few things which I could share and keep on working in this field. We need to be more prepared than ever in our curriculum, also in our course content. We have ensured that we give practical exposure to students and to young members also. As a reason of it, so many competition, may it be debate, may it be moot courts are being organized. I can certainly share again, and if there are some questions, I can take that up. I would now request Srivastava sir to take it forward, although in fact the first practicing company secretary, when I saw him appearing in CLB, he was none other than Nisar Ahmed sir, and again same things applies to him. The kind of regard, the kind of wisdom which he shared, and so many years back also I realized that judges would know very few company secretaries who are appearing, because at that time very few were appearing, and this is again 15 years back. Then he'll say, yeah, Nisarji appears, and he was one of the very few practicing company secretaries who are appearing, and now the number has gone up. Now so many youngsters are appearing, which really makes me feel good, because this topic of art of appearing before quasi-judicial bodies is really close to my heart. Also, I've been taking session in SMTP, MSOP on this for a decade. It's very close, just next to my wife, I feel, and the passion with which I share what I have learned from seniors like Nisar sir. In fact, this is like becoming an institution. P.K. Mittal sir was an institution in himself. Nisar Ahmed sir is an institution in himself. Why? Because all his trainees are now appearing every day in NCLT. One day recently, few days back, a company secretary from his office, I will not name, was opposing a matter against me. And I told him, yaar, ye tumne Nisar sir wala patra apnaya hai. You have now used this tact which Nisar sir used to apply in his matters. And he said, wo to hai hi, shagird kiske hain? We have learned from him. So there is so much to learn from each other that we can continue this process. I really appreciate this thought of our dynamic president and my brother, Vice President, Mr. Manish Gupta. Whenever an opportunity is given to me, I am always available. Thank you for bearing with me. And if there are some questions, I will take it up. Over to you, Srivastava. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chawla ji. Thank you very much. It was a really learning experience. Having interaction with you, I'm sure the members and students who are connected live, I can see very large number of students and members are connected. I'm sure they must have learned lot of things, lot of practical tips while listening your session. Now we are privileged and we are happy that on our request, CS Nisar Ahmed ji has spared some time out of his busy schedule to connect with this webinar. Nisar sir, kindly on your camera. Please come on the screen.
It is not now reflected because I have been blocked. I was there, but yeah, I was blocked by your office.
Just a minute, sir.
My camera is blocked.
Let me check some technical issue.
Okay.
Nisar sir, you are omnipresent. Nobody can dare to block you. It may be some technical slag. It may be some technical slag, sir.
My office checked off and it says that we have blocked all the speakers except after Mr. Chawla is over. Then we will allow your screen. Anyway, that's the message I got it.
Sir, give me 2 minutes time. I am checking with my technical team.
Okay,
if there
no
is
problem.
Issue.
You can start without even seeing, no issue.
Sir, till then I think you can start because your video and your face is known to everyone and
Yes.
is always available, and your motivation and your smiling face is always in our mind and in our eyes. I think you can. I have already taken some
सर अभी
time.
5 मिनट पहले तो आप दिख रहे थे स्क्रीन पे, तो थोड़ा एक बार चेक करें अपनी तरफ से कैमरा तो ऑन है क्या?
ऑन है, कैमरा ऑन है, बिल्कुल ऑन है.
अभी 2 मिनट पहले आप स्क्रीन पे दिख रहे थे सर. आई वाज हैप्पी दैट यू हैव कनेक्टेड. सडनली कुछ हो गया. लेट मी चेक सर टेक्निकल टीम.
यहाँ से ठीक है, बिल्कुल यहाँ से ऑन है. एनीवे चलिए.
मीनवाइल हम कंटिन्यू करें, तब तक अभी हम ठीक करा रहे हैं इसको सर. कंटिन्यू सर.
जी.
Sir, we are really privileged that Nisar sir has spared some time to connect with this webinar. When we were deciding and planning about conducting this webinar on NCLT, which was very close to heart to our beloved PK Mittal ji, then we thought of Nisar sir because he is a stalwart of our profession. He is the person who is having very rich knowledge about our profession and working with the NCLT. So he is the right person who can connect with us and who can guide our students and members who are a very large number of crowd is connected live. This program is going on live on Facebook and YouTube and through our web link. Large number of students and members are connected. They are watching you live and they all are going to be benefited having interaction and having listening the session of Nisar sir. Nisar Ahmed ji, our past president. He was a past president in 2012 of our institute. He was the member of Central Council since January 2004 to January 2015. He is a commerce graduate. He is a fellow member of our institute, law graduate, and सर निसार सर एक बार अगर आप रीज्वाइन करेंगे तो हमारे ख्याल से कैमरा आ जाएगा. सर निसार सर एक बार आप सर एक बार क्विट करके दोबारा रीज्वाइन करिए. टेक्निकल इशू टीम बता रही कि आपका कैमरा फिर ऑन हो जाएगा. सर
Sir is joining.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if you can post your questions in the chat box. Joseph sir?
Yeah.
Members are posting questions.
PC.
Namaskar. I think it is not happening. We just log out and log in, and things are not happening. Anyway, I must.
Again, your voice is coming, but your video is not coming.
No problem. No problem. Don't worry.
Okay.
Some problem might have been there. Whatever it is. We have logged out and logged in again. Things are not there happening. Anyway. But
Let me continue with my introduction of Nisar sir. He is again a tall figure of our profession, our institute. As I was informing you, he is fellow member of our institute. He is a commerce graduate. He is a law graduate, having around 30 years, more than 30 years of professional experience in the field of company secretarial services, corporate law, business restructuring, merger and amalgamation, joint ventures, takeovers, winding up, due diligence and legal matters. He was also the president of Corporate Secretaries International Association CSIA, having its registered office in Geneva, Switzerland during the year 2012, and is a member of Council of CSIA till 2014. He was the chairman of WTO working group constituted by CSIA. He has been primarily engaged in appearance before various courts, quasi-judicial bodies, tribunals and authorities with erstwhile CLB, NCLT, NCLT, SAT, regional director, SEBI, stock exchanges. A man having very rich experience about this our course, this company secretaryship profession, and having a very rich experience in NCLT, the subject which we have chosen today for this webinar. I'm very unfortunately the sir was connected live. We were able to see his video, but there is some technical issue. We cannot see his video, but we can listen his voice. With this brief introduction, I'll request Nisar sir to address the live audience. Sir, please.
नमस्कार. आज की जो सभा इंस्टीट्यूट ने रखी है, इन द लविंग मेमोरी ऑफ और ग्रेट फ्रेंड श्री पी के मित्तल जी, सबसे पहले मैं उनके परिवार को, जो सदस्य अभी हैं मौजूद हैं, बेटी हैं, अभी मैं भाभी को भी देख रहा था जब वीडियो ऑन था, और मैं किसी कारणवश शुरू में अटेंड नहीं कर पाया प्रोग्राम को 11 बजे, उसके लिए क्षमा प्रार्थी. क्या बताऊं, ये समय ऐसा है, आज का जो कार्यक्रम है जो रखा गया है वो उनकी याद में, जो सब्जेक्ट है वो सब्जेक्ट पर हम लोग डिस्कस कर लेंगे, लेकिन मैं समझता हूं कि मेरे लिए ये अहम बात है कि मेरी कैरियर और पीके मित्तल जी का कैरियर इन द इंस्टीट्यूट, वी आर स्टार्टेड टुगेदर, our journey begins in the ICSI together, that goes up to and then conclude together. So it was a long period. We are 6 years in the regional level and 11 years or so in the central level. It was very unfortunate. Prior to few hours before the moment the information came to me in the morning, I talked to Parveen ji. That time I spoke to Parveen ji. He didn't say that I'm in the hospital, because I was having his number, and then always whenever he says भाई साहब क्या चल रहा है, I always talk to Parveen ji and to know भाई साहब बिजी हैं तो बात कर लेंगे, थोड़ा सा बाद में कर लेंगे, ये कर लेंगे. तो उन्होंने बताया कि तबीयत थोड़ी खराब है, लेकिन उनके साथ भी ऐसा नहीं हुआ. वो मेमोरी जो है वो थोड़े से याद, और बाद में पता चला कि परवीन जी भी नहीं रहे हमारे. ऐसा जो है अभी नहीं हुआ, सुनने में आया ऐसा. और इट वाज ए वेरी unfortunate and unbearable kind of thing, and a message. Then we started, Dr. Sanjeev, I spoke to Dr. Sanjeev. He was somewhere outside India, in the US or somewhere. I tried to reconnect and then again discuss. A lot of things has happened. Let me begin with 2 verses of Bhagavad Gita, which I used to practice in my life. Many verses are there. The first verses would be, the first verse, that is the chapter number 2, and verse number 20, न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन न्यायम भूत्वा भविता वा न भुवा अजो नित्य शाश्वतम पुराणो न हन्यते हन्य माने शरीरे। इस शरीर का जो है, हम शरीर जो देखते हैं, आत्मा की कभी न जन्म होती है न कभी मृत्यु होती है। इस शरीर को करोड़ों बार पीस दिया जाए तब भी हमारी आत्मा जो है वैसे ही रहती है। आज भाई हमारे जहां भी हैं, हम सब की बातों को देख भी रहे हैं और सुन भी रहे हैं। दूसरा वर्ष जो आया तुरंत आया और वो चैप्टर 2 में ही आया और वो 23 श्लोक आया। नैनम चिंतन्ति सहस्राणि नैनम दहके पावता न चैनम कलेदापतो न शोष्यति मारता। ये शब्द जो आए हैं, ये हमारे के लिए भगवान ने, ये सब प्राणियों के लिए समझाने के लिए, बताने के लिए कि आत्मा का कभी नाश नहीं होता है। आत्मा जहां है ये बदल जाते, जैसे हम लोग वस्त्र बदलते हैं वैसे ही वस्त्र बदल दिया जाता है। समझ में नहीं आता, एक परिवार मिला, एक आने के बाद एक परिवार मिला, एक माता पिता मिले, पत्नी मिली, बच्चे मिले और रिश्तेदार मिले और दोस्त मिले, और फिर समय पूरा करके हम सब जो है अपने वस्त्र को उतार देते हैं और नया वस्त्र मिल जाता है अपने प्रारब्ध के हिसाब से। तो इस तरह से जो हालत है, मैं तो यही प्रार्थना करूंगा परिवार को, खासकर बच्ची को, कि कहीं भी ऐसा महसूस ना होना चाहिए उनकी कमी नहीं। उनको याद करिए, वो सब पूर्ति कर देते हैं, क्योंकि आत्मा इतनी सर्वव्यापक है। कुछ भी कहने से, कुछ भी याद करने से उनकी याद जो है, उनकी अच्छी बातों को सोचना। और वन ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट हैज हैपेंड दैट विद मी, ही वाज वेरी वेरी पैशनेट टू दिस प्रोफेशन of company secretaries, despite practicing law as a lawyer, but he was heart and soul and the whole body. Every time he talks about the profession, and whenever we meet, we discuss about the profession and growth of the profession. So to that extent, I can say I remember our career starts in the regional level in 1995. We fought election together in 1994. That was my first beginning. And his beginning also in the regional level. Very, very passionate. And the second thing, that he was very passionate to promote the cadre of company secretaries to appear before company law board. जब भी हम लोगों की बातें होती थी, निसार भाई हम लोग मिल करके बहुत काम करना है, वर्कशॉप करना है, सिखाना है, ये करना है। भाई बच्चे नहीं आते हैं, भाई मेंबर्स आर शाई अवे फ्रॉम। तो हम लोग कहते थे भाई ऐसा है कि हम लोग ये सेमिनार और वर्कशॉप तो करेंगे। तो उन्होंने एक जो है अपना एक मंथली जर्नल बुलेटिन भी निकालते थे और वो बुलेटिन के जरिए भी मोटिवेट कर रहे थे सबको। एंड इट वाज सो गुड दैट ही हैज बीन ऑलवेज बीन पैशनेट टू promote the profession of company secretaries, particularly in the quasi judicial authorities. Of course, in the area of what is called indirect taxation, it was his passion with which he has been working it. Now, therefore, I am very fortunate that Institute has recognized his work and a passion with which that he has been now associated with, and organizes a webinar to discuss about his legacy that he has been all along been there. My heartfelt tribute and my memory to the family. And I can't say it because seeing the face of the family, it's very difficult to hold myself and talk anything other than what his contribution was for the profession of company secretaries, and particularly in the areas of quasi-judicial functions being performed by various authorities, including that time service tax matters. He used to deal with an indirect taxation, excise and so, and later on goods and services tax when it was introduced, merging together. And apart from very many times we have been interacting either together or in couple of matters together, and many more matters we have been opposite to each other in the company law board and thereafter in NCLT. So it's very, very hard. It's very difficult to, when I recall all those kinds, it will be difficult for me to hold for a longer day to discuss about Mittalji. but things are like that. We have to, live it. Everybody आए हैं सो जाएंगे, राजा रंक फकीर, सबको जाना है एक समय, एक सिंहासन चढ़ पड़े, तुझे बधे जंजीर। शरीर का यही काम हम सबका, हमारे जो पूर्वज थे, हमारे पिताजी थे, हमारे माताजी थे, वो बाकी हमारे दादा, सब लोग चले गए। तो जब जो हैं तो सब जाना है, लेकिन ये है कि उनके जो अच्छे जो डीड्स हैं उसको हम लोग याद करते हैं। और वो बातें जो है, चूंकि आत्मा इतना व्यापक है, शब्द जो है वो हर जगह हमको सुनते हैं, हर वक्त जब उनकी चर्चा होती है तो वो सुनते हैं। और वह हेतु की कृपा बनती है अपने परिवार के प्रति, अपने इष्ट मित्रों के प्रति, अपने दोस्तों के प्रति। तो ये मैं समझता हूँ, आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल दैट Institute has chosen this topic for discussions, and also to allow me to discuss something in the memory of my brother Pradeep ji. With these words, I pay my homage once again to the family and to all the dear and nears and the friends whosoever is now here joined in the through webinar organized by ICSI. Thankful to our friend Manish ji who has invited me for discussion, and of course Ashwini Kumar ji and his team. Unfortunately, whatever has happened, anyway, I'm not in a position to show my face, but my word is now coming. Am I audible, Mr. Srivastava?
Yes, sir. You are fully audible.
All right.
You are audible, sir.
I have noted the verses which you have mentioned, which I'll separately take from you.
Thank you, Mr. Chawla. And then I couldn't hear you much. Your discourse, today's discussions on the subject, which was assigned to both of us. But I just last around 10-15 minutes, I saw one video, and thereafter I heard your concluding part that your practicing professionals preferred CS as a profession, preferred profession, for which the topic is now there today. Let me begin with these remarks to the family and my friend Mr. Mittal. To the subject which has been assigned to me for 10-15 minutes to point out, I don't know. Many more things have been going to be the repeated one kind of thing. One thing I would like to start with, that for the first time, the Companies Act, the Companies Act 2013 recognized the professions of company secretary, chartered accountant, cost accountants, in addition to lawyer profession, in the Act itself called Section 432, which empowered the profession of company secretary. Today we are discussing the CS profession. So it was really a kind of great recognition. I say earlier we used to have Regulation 18 in the Company Law Board regulations and many more regulation in like SASTAT. We do appear in SASTAT. But earlier it was the service tax matters and excise matters and other tribunals. But it was all being now recognition coming from the regulations. But the Parliament acts its wisdom, and we must appreciate the work that has been now given to, and the Act itself recognized the profession by bringing a Section 432 for appearance before the quasi-judicial functions and tribunal, particularly NCLT. Now, that is the first recognition. Thereafter, our members were there, but now many more members have started now seeing. In fact, my career, my memory goes, my first appearance, always I used to say 4th January 1990, before the full bench of Company Law Board, before the chairman, VP Gupta and Mr. Rao bench at Mumbai. So it was really, it was a very fond memory that I'm carrying with me. And thereafter, on and off, whenever some opportunity comes, I do appear before and take through the matters before the tribunal. Earlier it was CLB, now becomes the tribunal. And with this, Now with these words, let me push through this, the practicing company secretary or CS, particularly those who are even in the employment, they can also appear before because 432 talks of practitioners as well as person in concern, because company secretary is officer and member of the KMP. If he or she wants to appear before the tribunal with regard to the matters of protecting the interests of the company to which he or she is a member as a secretary, working as a secretary or authorized. Earlier it was regulation 18, anybody is authorized by board can appear, but because of this embargo that 432 talks about, the professionals as well as the party in person. Now company secretary considered to be of the employment, party in person. If he's now, because he is, and there is a judgment, latest judgment that has come from the bench, NCLT bench, which talks of particularly Bangalore bench and then Chennai, Coimbatore bench, Cochin bench, that company secretary, even if without authority of the board, can take up the matter. Very recent judgment, it was a celebrated judgment, can take up the matter before and file a petition on behalf of the company, even if he is not authorized by the board. So this is the story. Now, what I say, the company secretary, because he has been now fully involved in the procedural part, why it is preferred? The preferred professional would be because he knows the subject, he knows the substantive law. When I say he, I mean that include both he or she, the professional colleagues, they have the full details of the substantive law, what law talks of. I'm told my friend has discussed in detail, Neeraj, regarding this what all those provisions that they are there for dealing with the subject. But one thing is there, because the substantive law knowledge is very much there. Number two, he knows the procedural aspects also, the rules, the regulations. And therefore, and the third point is, he or she is also closely working with and giving more time to understand the factual matrix of the litigation and dealing with the clients, be it director or the management or otherwise, whosoever is coming before him, with him for doing this work. I mean, in all way, always he has been having more time. I mean, if you go to senior advocate for briefing, it takes only 30 to 40 minutes briefing or an hour time. But a company secretary being preferred because he has been now dealing with day and day, spending more time. And therefore, he would be a preferred professional to deal the subject before the tribunal. Similarly, the only thing is that what I've seen in my practical seeing the members, they are not coming more in numbers in arguing the matters, particularly in the matters regarding operation mismanagement, and also a large number of insolvency law. And it is rest because insolvency law is a procedural law. I don't know why they have been not more. And I saw only particularly 59 matters of IBC, where is a voluntary winding up matter, voluntary liquidation matters coming to. But they are not coming to. Reason is I do not know reason for that. Now in this scenario, my appeal to all the members that please go through the substantive law. It is all there, and very simple process by which one can engage. And the rules is the companion. You must read the rules. If really someone is interested in dealing with NCLT, my appeal to all those members, existing and prospective members, those who are thinking of interacting and having time there for the profession as a professional, and to argue the matters and take up the assignment on in the NCLT to deal with law is very much there. So if I say start with around 25-30 sections which empower the company secretary in addition to other professional colleagues to spend before the NCLT. And very simple sections are, one can really do it, like 441 of course we have been doing more, but IBC another jurisdiction, that is a summary, only 3 sections, 9, 10 and 7, 9 and 10. Only 3 sections and lot of regulations. So who can understand better than the company secretary, because they have been equipped, their training templates, their education templates, their exam templates, all that have been there to understand the nuances and nitty-gritty of the regulations and the rules framed thereunder. So section and rules are very small. So IBC is another area which has been opened up to be adjudicated by the tribunal in the name of called adjudicating authorities. The third point I would like to emphasize here, that after the subject matter, to start thinking of appearances, more and more appearances, that to give a kind of art of advocacy and court craft. And prior to that, one really has to spend time to drafting. But Institute has so far been very consciously, time and again, through SCCGRT or regional level, they have been now doing more and more workshop and programs for drafting skill to be developed. And to draft this petition or application, as the case may be, either under the Companies Act or insolvency law. The simple process would be the first and foremost, one can really spend some time to download the NCLT rules. The NCLT rules is the friend's philosopher and guide for beginners and practitioners. And that's very simple. Download it from the website of the NCLT. And if someone really interested to venture into this area, only 15 to 20 rules out of hundreds of rules require as a practical, to begin with rule 20 to rule 38 or 39. These are the practical aspects of drafting. How to present, how many sets to be present, what would be the bottom space, what is the right side space, all those kind of beginners for them, very important. Double spacing, margin in the left side, margin in the top side, and all sorts of things are there. So my only appeal to all those who are interested in this subject, please download the National Company Law Tribunal Rules 2016. That is up to date, wherever rules get amended, updations are there. And once you have this reading once, twice or thrice, and as and when this opportunity comes, you must start now looking at the rules and start drafting. Drafting is the art as well as a science. Science in the sense that substantive law and the rules framed thereunder are to be looked into. There is no change. That is science. Science is the fictions. Art is the drafting and articulations out of those substantive law and rules and the judgment pronounced by a ratio that has been now given to. Now these are the 3 points that's why we used to call drafting is an art and drafting is a science. It's a both scenario. For those who have been joined as students, for them it is a very important part that to spend really time. And those who are younger members and thinking of venturing into the profession of in this appearance or it's representative services, whether you go to the regional director in the matter, various matters, to represent the client and argue the matter, like in case of fast track merger, the 233. The merger is the area 230 to 240 chapter. Section only 10, 11 section, but out of which only 2-3 sections are practical sections. So why not? And typically that company secretary have been associated with this particular work from day one, drafting of resolution, drafting of scheme, drafting of all sorts of things, coordination with the council, coordination with the bench, coordination with the valuers, and so on and so forth. Coordination with the creditors and shareholders, taking their NOCs, and so on and so. So if someone really interested in NCLT proceedings, these are the immediate part. Merger amalgamation is the area where company secretary, apart from 444 and 59 of IBC, which deals with voluntary liquidation, these are the beginning. And then of course section 7 and Section 9 and Section 10. 10 we are hardly been invoked. Section 10 of IBC. We have very small matters coming out of 100. You can say 2 or 3 matters are being referred to. But if you look at this, Section 7 or 9, 9 are very many because its operational creditors are filing. Threshold limit has increased. Now we have to see those who have been already interacting must understand and that if they have filed already petition prior to the enhancement of the limits, that from 1 lakh the threshold limit has been increased during COVID period in 2020. But during this period they have increased the limit to from 1 lakh to 1 crore rupees. So minimum threshold rupee section, it talks about Section 4, 1 crore rupees if there is a default, if the amount is due and not being paid on demand, and amount is due and default occurs, and there is no dispute existing, Section 9 can be invoked if it is operational creditor with regard to providing sale of goods and providing services. So Section 9 is important one. You can get a lot of cases in Section 9 if someone is really mastering this area of IBC. But one thing is there could be question, some amount was due and payable and there was not payment occurred and that amount was less than 1 crore rupees prior to the date, say 22nd or so or March 2020. Now there is a judgment already, now case is pending before the apex court. So you cannot say run away, say no, we cannot file. But you can hold till the judgment is now delivered jumbo matters before the Honorable Supreme Court. So Supreme Court is seized of this particular matter, whether there are a lot of legal issues. That time is not there for us to discuss because it's not a workshop and time is there for, my time is now up, I think it's 1 o'clock. So I can just simply say more than 1 o'clock, I'm sorry. I didn't see that, my watch. Only I think that is a very good area. One really has to spend a good number of hours. We can discuss some other occasion because I have been given to understand that program to begin with 11 o'clock and conclude at 1 o'clock. I'm really sorry, Mr. Srivastava. If this being now 2 minutes more, I can take 2 more minutes. Hello. All right. I think I'm not getting consent. So let us now conclude by saying this particular area is very fertile and involved, and it will be better tribute to my friend Mr. Mittal, Pradeep ji, and Praveen ji, and it will be a kind of slash for the family that if you can start, because he was very passionate. Let me very honestly say, he was very passionate to bring the younger members to the fold of National Company Law Tribunal matters and the quasi-judicial functions matters. So I think time has now already exceeded, and I'll conclude by saying that one verse. Let me one thing is there that talks of in the last particular line that Bhagavad Gita, because I have been now very passionately reading this part, and the last before the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita on 18th chapter and the very last but 6 verses, verse number 66, Sarva Dharma Tyajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraj Aham Tva Sarva Pape Bhyo Moksha Sami Ma Sucha. He says, that's verse number 66 of chapter number 18. At the end, what God is now saying, what Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna. It's all discussions have taken place. He started with chapter 2, his communication, and it says what is the Sharir, what is all this kind of thing. But he's concluded. He says whatever we have been doing, Sarva Dharma Tyajya, Sarva Dharam Pratyajya, Mam Ekam Sharan Braj, Aham Tva Sarva Pape Bhyo. Now he says whatever you are doing, whatever meditation, doing or not doing, but if you want to, you leave all these things. But what do? You come to my fold. You come to my fold. Sharanagat, जिसको हम बोलते हैं हिंदी में शरणागत होना. सरेंडर करना। Once you become now surrendered to the God and His existence, what He will do? He says, अहम त्वा, मैं तुम्हें, अहम त्वा, मैं तुम्हें, सर्व पापेभ्यो, मैं सारे पापों को नाश कर दूंगा, सारे पापों को मैं हर लूंगा, सर्व पापेभ्यो मुक्त। उसके बाद क्या करूंगा? मोक्षास्यामि मां शुचा, मैं तुम्हें प्रणत करता हूं, मोक्षास्यामि मां शुचा, मैं तुम्हें इस बात को कहता हूं कि हम तुम्हें मोक्ष प्रदान कर दूंगा। तो ये शब्द जो है, आज का दिन ये था, क्योंकि हमारे भाई भी बहुत धार्मिक थे और हर जगह देवी देवताओं के पास जाना, और बहुत हमेशा जब कहीं जाते थे किसी देवी स्थान पर, तो वहां से जब प्रसाद लेकर आते थे तो मुझे जरूर देते थे वो प्रसाद, कहते हम आपके लिए जरूर लेकर प्रसाद लेकर आए। आज हम सब याद कर रहे हैं, आज का दिन जो है वो बड़ा ही अजीब सा वक्त था। हालांकि यह डिस्कशंस का टाइम नहीं था। आई वांटेड टू टॉक मोर एंड मोर अबाउट प्रदीप जी, बिकॉज वो इतने ज्यादा वो, इसलिए मैंने सोचा कि ये जो बहुत, और हम लोग इस बात पर चर्चा करते थे, और ये श्लोक के ऊपर बहुत चर्चाएं हुई। मुझे याद है जब हम लोग ये बात करते थे तो वो कहते निसार जी बात सही है, हम किसी भी धर्म से हों, संप्रदाय से हों, जिस भी मजहब से हम जानने वाले हैं, मानने, कहते हैं सारे धर्मों को खत्म करके, और जब हम एक एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ गॉड जो हमारे है, जिसको हम खुदा कहते हैं, अल्लाह कहते हैं, ईश्वर कहते हैं, ब्रह्म कहते हैं, वॉट एवर नेम कॉल्ड, इट्स ओनली वन, बिकॉज उसी की रचना है, एक ही, एक वो हम, द्वितीयो नास्ति, एक ही सत्ता है, दूसरा कुछ नहीं है। तो मैं समझता हूं आज का जो विषय था, वो विषय तो वो थोड़ा हटकर था, लेकिन चूंकि मैं बार बार उस पर आ रहा था कि हम लोग इस बात की चर्चा आपस में करते थे, चाहे वो काउंसिल की मीटिंग से पहले या काउंसिल की मीटिंग के बाद, कुछ हम लोग भगवत चर्चा करते थे, आपस में चर्चाएं होती रहती थी। आज मैं समझता हूं कि उनके लिए ट्रिब्यूट, उनके लिए श्रद्धांजलि यही हो सकती है, वट एवर बेस दैट आई कैन रिमेंबर what we have been discussing together, and he was very very pious soul. Let me very honestly share with you, he ऊपर से जैसे बड़ी गुस्सा कर जाते थे, कभी कभी गुस्सा करते थे, बहुत ज्यादा गुस्सा करते थे, बेंच हमारे मीटिंग, हमारे काउंसिल में भी चर्चाएं होती थी, लेकिन he happened to be very pious soul, very God fearing person, सभी जगहों पर सारे धर्मों को मानना, कभी कोई काट छाट नहीं होता था कि नहीं मेरा धर्म सर्वोच्च है, तुम्हारा धर्म नहीं है। हम सब जो एक साथ मिल करके बहुत समय बिताया, 11 साल सेंट्रल काउंसिल में, 6 साल रीजनल काउंसिल में। तो मेरे लिए तो उस यादों को सजोने की बात है। कभी हम फिर बात करेंगे, कभी ऐसी चर्चा होगी। तो ये प्रोफेशन के बारे में आज मन नहीं कर रहा था बात करने का, लेकिन मैंने फिर भी समय के अभाव के हिसाब से, आई एम वेरी सॉरी दैट आई हैव एक्सीडेड माई टाइम, एंड आई एम कन्वे माई ग्रेटिट्यूड टू द फैमिली। वंस अगेन श्रद्धांजलि टू फैमिली। बिटिया नजर आ रही हैं और भाभी जी नजर आ रही हैं, आप दोनों को बहुत बहुत नमस्कार। अच्छा, हमारे भाई भी, अभिनव जी भी आ गए, अनुभव जी
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
थैंक यू सो मच
नमस्कार। और मेरे सारे जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए थे आज के कार्यक्रम में, किसी और दिन चर्चा करेंगे एनसीएलटी के ऊपर। आज के लिए क्षमा, और थैंक यू सो वेरी मच श्रीवास्तव जी, मनीष जी, प्रेसिडेंट एंड ऑल काउंसिल मेंबर एनपीएस जी, for giving this opportunity to come before you guys and then discussing something. Time was not there for me to discuss and elaborate much about the profession, but definitely CS is the preferred profession for the profession of company secretary and for the activities before NCLT. We will discuss some other time in some other program. Thank you so very much once again and giving me opportunity. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It was really a word of wisdom from such a learned and senior professional who was very close on personal level with Shri P.K. Mittal ji. Nisar ji, the words which you have shared, the knowledge which you have shared, it was really enlightened to all our young members and students. I can understand, I can see very large number of crowd are live connected. Our students and members are live connected, and these young members, young students, they must have learned a lot of things today during this webinar. Actually होता क्या है कि जहां तक हमारे हाथ में कैपेसिटी होती है, हमारी लिमिटेशंस होती हैं, हम अपनी तरफ से कोशिश करते हैं, हाथ पैर मारते हैं, इधर उधर भागते हैं, और जब हमारी सारी लिमिट्स खत्म हो जाती हैं तब हम भगवान के आगे सरेंडर कर देते हैं। इसीलिए कहा गया है कि कोशिशें इंसान जहां नाकाम है बस उसी के आगे खुदा का नाम है. With heavy hearts, we can say that in spite of putting all efforts and best wishes with Mittal sir, we had to surrender in front of God and we lost him. But अभी निसार जी जब एड्रेस कर रहे थे, उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी बात कही कि जो आया है उसको जाना है. He quoted from Gita also, verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. He quoted some lines कि आए हैं तो जाएंगे राजा रंग फकीर. हम सबको जाना है और एक स्टेज पे जाके हम सरेंडर कर देते हैं गॉड के सामने, जिसके आगे हमारी कुछ नहीं चलती. इसीलिए हम कहते हैं कि कोशिशें इंसान जहां नाकाम है, बस उसी के आगे खुदा का नाम है. Today's webinar was very, very informative, learning, and having lot of knowledge and wisdom. And I'm sure the audience connected live with this webinar must have learned a lot. NPS Chawla ji, we are really grateful to you that you have given lot of practical tips to our live audience. Lot of things what to be noted, and I'm sure my young students and members, they must have noted, and which will be useful in profession, and tomorrow when they are going to perform in their profession, when they are going to appear before NCLT, all these practical tips will be very, very useful. Chawla sir, as always, you are on fire. You are giving lot of tips. I know you are a wonderful speaker, but आज आपने प्रोग्राम में जान डाली. It was a really experience to listen you live and learn from you. Nisar sir, your word of wisdom, जैसे जैसे आपकी एज बढ़ रही है, जैसे जैसे आपका एक्सपीरियंस बढ़ रहा है, नॉलेज का लेवल ही दूसरा है. So today you are talking something different, spiritual. I have never heard you talking in this way. I have always heard you. I've got opportunity to listen you various times, but on professional front only. But today, the level of knowledge and wisdom you shared, it was really eye-opening for all of us. Full of thought, full of inner meaning. Nisar sir, we are very much grateful to you, because I am aware you are too much engaged today, but still on our request, you spared some time out of your busy schedule to get connected with this webinar.
Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you.
Sir, we are obliged. I am also thankful to the family member. When Institute conceptualized the thing that we will be having the memorial webinar, and when I connected with the family, especially Preeti, the way she responded, full of positivity, and I'm really overwhelmed the way Mr. Anubhav you spoke on the occasion, Preeti you spoke on the occasion, and I'm really, really indebted by the humble presence of wife of Mr. P.K. Mittal ji, Madam Renu Mittal ji. I'm really obliged to you all that you all have spare time to grace the occasion. At last, but not least, मित्तल सर आपसे 2 लाइन कहना चाहेंगे. आप जहां भी हैं, श्री बांके बिहारी जी के चरणों में आपको स्थान मिले. यू प्लीज बी रेस्ट इन पीस. मित्तल सर आपसे कहना चाहेंगे कि बड़े शौक से सुन रहा था जमाना, बड़े शौक से सुन रहा था जमाना, तुम ही सो गए दास्तां कहते कहते. Friends, members, Before we conclude, we are thankful to our President Sir, Sri Devendra Deshpande ji, our Vice President Sir, Sri Manish Gupta ji. ये वेबिनार करने का आइडिया, मेमोरियल वेबिनार इन मेमोरी ऑफ अवर पास्ट लीडर्स हु आर नो मोर विद अस, ये यूनिक आइडिया मनीष जी का आया एंड इस पे हमारे पूरे काउंसिल का सपोर्ट मिला. वी गॉट द सपोर्ट ऑफ इंटायर काउंसिल, अवर प्रेसिडेंट, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट एंड अवर सेक्रेटरी सर आशीष मोहन जी. And this idea clicked. In this student month itself, we have organized 6th webinar, and 6th webinar all were grand success, attended by so many people live, and very overwhelming response we are receiving, overwhelming feedback we are receiving. We are thankful to our council and the senior management for supporting us this new initiative. And at last but not least, thank you very much to our student members who have joined this webinar live in a large number to make it grand success. Before I close, my special thanks goes to my colleague Shalini for supporting me in conducting this webinar, and entire team of IT who are throughout connected for making this program a grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And it was actually a very good program, and we have actually learned a lot today. The way Mr. Chawla said, and I mean, it actually gave us a practical experience, and definitely I have taken my notes on that, and we'll be using this when we appear before the courts, especially NCLT and the other courts. And the words which Nisar sir said, we really appreciate those thoughts, and we are really thankful for everyone, especially Ashwini sir, that he coordinated with us, and this program has actually become a success. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.